Hello, this is Shar from the Real Kitchen for Real People, and I trust that everyone is doing well and feeling well. Today we're going to feature what I call sweet potato bars, and this is such a wonderful recipe, and it's simple and most of all, it's delicious. Okay, these are the ingredients I have here that you're looking at. I have already boiled 3 sweet potatoes, and you can boil them in water. Just get your pot, wash your sweet potatoes off, and stick them in the pot, and then cover that pot with water. Fill it up with water till your potatoes are covered, and then put the top on it and let them cook until they are tender. And that means they're done. Stick a knife through them, and if it goes all the way through, it's done. Okay, so I've already done that at this point. And also in this recipe, it requires about a half a cup of carnation milk, a stick of butter, a cup of sugar, 2 eggs, a tablespoon of nutmeg, and a teaspoon of cinnamon, and a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring. So first of all, what I want to do is take the peelings off of these sweet potatoes. Now this step in making sweet potatoes is very important. As I've Okay, I'm going to take these potatoes and I'm going to cut the ends off first, as you can see. And then I'll lightly cut down the back end center, and it just peels off. See how that just peels off? And you peel that all the way off of all your potatoes. Just make sure and you may find some bad spots in there, and you can just cut them off. Just kind of scrape that over. Peel it all the way off till it's clean. And you don't have any peeling left. Okay, see, that's a bad spot right there. It's not really a bad spot. That's just where the root of it is. And then on the back end, you might be some dark spots that you might want to kind of trim them down like that, lightly, to get all of those dark spots off of your potato. Okay, now this is what you'll do on all 3 large potatoes for these sweet potato bars. Okay, now this step is what I've learned the hard way. I was making sweet potato pie one time, following the recipe that I had gotten offline or somewhere, and it just said boil your potatoes, peel the potatoes, and put them in the bowl and blend them. And I could not figure out why those sweet potato pies had strings in them, and I do not want strings in my sweet potato pie, and you don't either, believe me. So this is a trick that I learned um, from an aunt, that you always cut your potatoes before you put it in the bowl. You want to cut them crossways like this. So you'll do this on all 3 potatoes. You want to cross cut them like this. And you think that wouldn't matter, but believe me, it does. So you'll cut all 3 of your potatoes like this in your crossways. Okay? So what I'm going to do is finish cutting these and peeling them, and then cutting them across, and I'll come back. Now I'm going to put my potatoes in this bowl. And this is a process here, but it's a process that's very important in making sweet potato pies or sweet potato bars. So I'm going to put those into my bowl, because I'm getting ready to blend. keep me a little dishwater over to the side to clean my workstation up. So you always want to keep your workstation cleaned up as you go, so it won't be so hard and stressful. Because cooking is supposed to be fun, not stressful. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is blend these potatoes, and I'll show you how that's done. Okay, I'm going to blend these potatoes on high and stop for a minute. Okay, now I stopped it, and I want to clean my blend. I want to show you something though. You're going to shake your filling off. But do you see those strings right there? That you do not want in your batter. So you just kind of knock off your batter, and you see those strings. And I take this and then I dump it in a bowl of water to clean my blender off before I stick it back in there and continue blending. And I do this about 7 or 8 times till I do not see any more strings. So I'm going to rinse this off and continue blending. Okay, all my strings are off, and I end up doing it 8 times at 1 minute each time, and to make sure I get all those strings out of that bowl. Okay, as you can see in there. So now I'm going to add my butter. I'm going to cream my butter in here. Soft butter. So I'm going to add that to the mixture. And I'm not going to put a whole stick. I'm just going to put probably about 3/4 of the stick. Because it just depends on how big your potatoes are and on how much butter. Because I don't want to put too much butter and be greasy. So just you learn to eyeball it. So I'm just going to do 3/4 of the stick of butter. So I'm going to blend that until it's blended. So I'm going to turn that up a little bit. And then I'm going to add as this blend, I'm going to add my eggs one at a time. So I'm going to add my eggs. One at a time, if possible. And blend for 1 minute on each egg. As you can see, it's mixing up real pretty, and it's going to be delicious. So do that, blend 1 minute after each egg. Okay, now I'm going to add my sugar. As it's mixing, I'm going to add my sugar. Now you're going to add your teaspoon of cinnamon and your tablespoon of nutmeg. And your teaspoon of vanilla. Now these spices here, as you mix and you taste, you can add as much as you want. It may not be enough nutmeg. You just have to taste and see what you need to add. But I always start out with this and then I'll taste it. Okay, so we're gonna mix this up. Okay, I'm finished blending. So now I've tasted my filling, and I think I need to add just a little more nutmeg and cinnamon to it. Okay, so I'll just stir those in. And you just taste it and see what you think. Now also another way to blend your potatoes is with the food processor. Some people put it in a food processor and puree their potatoes. I've never tried it that way, but I'm sure it works. Okay, now I'm going to just stir in just a small amount of Carnation Milk, because I don't want it too juicy, but right now this is the consistency it is. Shake that up real good. Clean your tops off your cans, because they've been sitting in the stores and no telling what's been on them. So be sure to clean your top of your pans before you open them. Shake that Carnation Milk up really well. And I'm just going to add just a little bit at a time, probably 2 tablespoons looks like. And this just gives it a richness to it. And it needs to be Carnation Milk or Eagle brand. I have never tried it with regular milk, but this is Char's recipe, so that was handed down to me from grandma's, aunts, and mother on this sweet potato filling, which I now have made, which we're going to feature today as sweet potato bars. Okay, now that my filling is finished, that's what it looks like. And it's about that consistency you want. So about 2 tablespoons of that milk was enough, because I don't want to get it too loose. And then once you have finished your batter, your filling, excuse me, then turn your oven on 350. Now set your batter aside, and we're getting ready to make our bar crust. In this separate bowl here, I've added a cup and 1/4 cup of flour. In this bowl, I have 1 stick of cold butter, and I've cubed it so to make it easy to mix. Okay, and then I'm going to add a teaspoon of, not a teaspoon, probably about a 1/2 teaspoon of salt to this flour mixture. Okay, and then I want to take a fork and just kind of mix that up in there. Like that. And then I want to add my butter, cold butter. Make sure it's cold. Whole butter to your flour mixture. And if you have a pastry blender, that's fine. But I don't, so I use a fork, which takes a little while. So I'm going to keep mashing this until it gets in a crumb, like little crumbs. And I'll show you what it's supposed to look like when I finish mashing. In the meantime, put about 4 ice cubes in a bowl and fill it up with water. And set it aside until you finish crumbling up your flour mixture. See, it's coming along. See how those little crumbs is coming in there? It's coming along, so I'm still kind of blending it in a little bit, but you got to do this kind of quickly because you don't want your butter to start getting soft on you. Okay, so you just kind of get that done, and then you're gonna add, once this is crumbled, I'm gonna add a 1/3 cup of that ice cold water sitting inside over there. It's gonna be a 1/3 cup to this batter mixture, this flour mixture. Okay, and that's pretty good. So I am going to add my ice cold water. Okay, I'm going to add that 1/3 cup of ice cold water. Don't put the ice in there, just the water, because the water's ice cold. Okay, so I'm going to add the ice cold water to that batter, flour batter. Then I'm going to stir that up in there, just slowly stir it around, and then it'll form a ball. And sometimes you might have to add just a little bit because you might have got just a little bit more flour. So I'm just going to add just a little bit more, maybe a teaspoon more to that. Stir it around till you kind of start pulling from the side and the bottom. See how it's doing? It's pulling from the side and the bottom. And you're going to form your ball. To me, it's just easier to make homemade crust. It is for me because I just don't like the store-bought crust unless it's just I have to have it. But most of the time, I always have flour and butter or flour and shortening, so I just prefer to make my own. So you just make a ball out of it. Kind of roll it around until you have a ball like that. Okay, so make sure you get all that out of there. And what I'm going to do is cut this ball in half and wrap them and put them in the refrigerator for 45 minutes. I'm going to cut this here in half. Okay, and that'll give me two balls. So I got one ball here. Okay, and then the other ball. And I'm going to wrap them in saran wrap, and I'll show you that. Okay, these are my balls here. I'm going to put it in saran wrap. I have put a little flour on my hands to make it a little more easier to work with, to kind of make my balls like that. So I'm going to put them in the saran wrap one at a time. Just wrap it in the saran wrap. Each one just wrap like that, and then set it in your refrigerator for 45 minutes. and then we'll be back to roll it. Okay, I got my two pie crust out, and I think I'm gonna only have to use one. So I'm gonna put this other one back in the refrigerator. You can put them in there up to 3 or 4 days in the refrigerator, or you can put it in the freezer for I think 7 days. So I'm gonna put this in the freezer and then roll out this other one. And the one that before you use the one that you put in the freezer, if you put one in the freezer, you just set it out and let it just kind of thaw out a little bit. Not much, but you know, where you can handle it like this. So I'm gonna put a little flour on my counter here, and then I'm gonna just mash that dough down to where it looks like that. Okay, so I'm gonna mash that down, and I have my rolling pin. I'm gonna put a little flour on it, and then I want it to kind of match my pan that I'm gonna put it in. I'm gonna put it in this clear baking dish here. I'm going to use this. So I am going to spray the bottom of this, and then I will kind of roll out my dough to kind of match the length of that cooking dish. So I'm going to spray that, set that aside until I finish rolling out my dough. Okay, I'm going to roll it long ways. Okay, you can just turn it like that. Sprinkle a little flour on there and roll it out. Okay, and you roll this until it's the length of your pan, however how big your baking dish is. That's where you want to roll it. Okay, so just keep rolling it until you get it to the size you desire, and I'll be back when I get ready to put it in my dish. Okay, I rolled it out and I'm putting it into my pie dish, or my bar dish, excuse me. I keep thinking it's pie, but this is a sweet potato bar. And I made these once and my husband just loved them, I guess because it had a lot more crust on them. So he said, well, I like bars better than I do the pie. So here we are making the bars. And what you do is you're going to pour your batter in there. If you have some thin spots, just mash them together on the bottom. They'll be okay. And around the sides, kind of push your sides up. So you kind of have a little ledge around there like that. Alright. Okay, and that's what it'll look like. Your pie. Not your pie, your bar. Your bar crust. It'll look like this in a square pan. So now I'm going to add the filling to that. Our sweet potato pie filling. I'm going to pour it in there. And I'm going to put this in my preheated oven and let it cook for an hour. So I'm going to pour this in here. Just spread it out. And if you want to, you can make split it up into two small. If you have a small, like a brownie pan or something, you can, you know, split your dough up, or you can just use half of your dough and put the other in the refrigerator for a couple of days, or put it in the freezer for 5 days. Your filling. It's real user friendly pie bar filling. So whatever you want to do, you can put it in the, well, after you make this filling, you can either go ahead and use it or put it in the freezer or refrigerator. Whatever you want to do. I decided to go ahead and use my extra dough, pie crust dough, and I put it into a square brownie pan to where to fit, because I know my husband liked the thinner brownie bar, bars. So I'm going to make this sweet potato bar. It'll be a little thinner than that one that's in the oven right now. So I'm going to put this, I used that extra dough, and I'm just going to pour this extra sweet potato pie filling in there. So we will make an extra pan pretty much of the sweet potato bars. This one will just be a thinner filling to it, which is what he likes anyway. So okay, so like I said, you could split it up if you want. So I'm just showing you how I split it up. Put that one in the clear baking dish, and then I'm gonna put the remaining in this little square brownie pan that I have. So it'll go in there like that. It's perfect for the extra I had a little extra. So perfect. So of course I'm going to put this in the oven right with the other one. Okay, I've taken my sweet potato bars out of the oven. It took an hour and about 10 minutes, and I stick the toothpick through and it come out smooth. So that's what you want, to come out smooth. So I'm going to let these cool for an hour. Okay, now that I've let them set for an hour, I'm going to take them, slide them out of the pan, just gradually lift it up out of the pan and slide them to your cutting board. Okay, and you can see how beautiful they are. That's 2 of them. So now I'm going to cut them. I'm going to just cut the little one for right now and taste it. I think I'll turn it this way for me to cut it. So I just took my dough cutter and cut it where the cut straight through. Okay, and it'll be like that. And then I'll cut another one. And these just make a great little dessert snack. If you're going somewhere, you can cut them however you want. If you want to cut them small, you can cut them real small. But the smaller ones, you're probably going to have to let them cool a little longer so that you won't crumble up your whole bars. So that's how you're going to cut them. And then you want to cut them crossways, just depending on how large you want them. So I'm going to turn it back around this way, and I'm going to cut them about right in here. Like that. Okay. And they'll be cut just like that. And you'll see how beautiful those bars are. And they are delicious. So I'm going to try I'll save the ends for my husband. He loves the ends. So we'll put them on the side. Let me cut the rest of these while I'm at it. I might as well cut the rest of it. So these are sweet potato bars. And if you like this recipe and you enjoyed the video, even though I know it was a little more detailed than my normal videos, but I guarantee you will enjoy the treat. You will enjoy the sweet potato bars. They are delicious and they're beautiful to serve on a plate. And I'm going to taste them and see how they come out. Those are wonderful. And they're even better the next day once your bars set. Those spices just marinate into that batter even more, the filling. So if you like it, give me thumbs up. Let me know what you think. And also be sure to subscribe and share this recipe with your friends or neighbors or relatives. And I hope you enjoy it. And until next time, I'll see you later. Talk to you later. Love, love.